Welcome to the new section. In this section, we are going to learn about OSPF routing protocol in depth. Okay. As a part of that, in this very first video of this section, let's understand about the basics, the very fundamentals of OSPF. Okay. So the term OSPF stands for Open Shortest Path First. Okay, it is one among the interior gateway protocol that is used to share the route informations within a single autonomous system or a single organization. Okay, OSPF is an link state routing protocol. As this is a link state protocol, all the routers will be maintaining the complete topology of the network. So they won't share the entire routing informations with the neighbor, the distance vector routing protocol, which do route on rumor, right? Like which shares the entire routing protocol on regular interval of time. Okay, but here in link state routing protocol, it won't share like that. It won't share the entire routing protocol. Instead, it sends only the updates, triggered updates. Like say for example, if there is any new network getting added to the any new network any new network getting added to the topology, or if the existing path, any path is going down, any link is going down, or any new network is added, so that changes, only that changes will be triggered. Okay, sent as an update message. So due to that, it's fast convergence because it's not sharing the entire routing information, right? It just share the updates, any new changes. Only that newly learned network will be shared. It uses the Dijkstra's shortest path first algorithm to calculate the best path. It operates on the protocol number 89, and very importantly, the administrative distance of OSPF protocol is 110. Okay, it is a classless routing protocol, so it won't set any classful boundaries like RIP. Okay, here it is a classless routing protocol, so it supports VLSM and it sends the subnet informations. The metric of OSPF is cost. Where, like, if you compare the metric of other protocols, RIP uses the hop count as its metrics. EIGRP uses the bandwidth and delay as the metric, where here in OSPF, cost is the metric. Okay, and very importantly, like, as this is just an introduction video, uh, I'm just giving a basic, okay, basic introduction about OSPF. Like we'll be exploring more in detail about each and every feature in the upcoming video. Say for example, like I'm telling OSPF is using cost as metric, right? So we need to understand how this cost is calculated. So we'll be discussing about this in the separate video. Same, like we'll be discussing, about all the important concepts in the upcoming video in detail. So for now, it's just an introduction video. All right. So if in case you are not clear in some parts, that's fine, because we are going to discuss about each and every concept separately. All right. So the hello packets are sent using the multicast IP address 224.0.0.5. Whereas if it is an multi-access network, like if you have a designated router and backup designated router kind of a setup, then there the multicast IP address used is 224.0.0.6. All right. So the default hello interval is 10 seconds, and the dead interval timer is 4 times of hello interval, that is 40 seconds. So the hello interval and dead time interval, right? We already discussed in EHRP. However, let me repeat it here once again. See, hello interval means, say for example, you have two routers, that is router 1 and router 2. So they already form the neighborship using the OSPF routing protocol. So once both the routers forms the adjacency, forms the neighborship, they ensure that the neighbor is still alive, right? So what happens? R1 will send a hello message for every 10 seconds once. As same, R2 will also send an hello message. Like so, when R1 sends a hello message for 10-second once, if in case it's not getting a response from R2, then it's going to send another hello after 10 seconds. Even if it doesn't receive any response for it, again after 10 minutes, third hello would be sent, and even for that it didn't receive any response, then again after 10 minutes, sorry, 10 seconds, the fourth hello interval will be sent, hello message will be sent. And even if it didn't receive any update or any response for that fourth hello message, it wait for the 10 second, and in the 40th second it declared that the peer, the neighbor R2 is dead. Okay, so this is what hello interval and data interval means. And as I said earlier, OSPF supports VLSM and route summarization. Here, it uses the concepts of wildcard mask. Okay, if you remember, like in RIP, we just added the IP address of the network. We didn't added any subnet mask. However, in OSPF, it's very important or mandate to add the wildcard mask along with your network IP address. So, wildcard mask is the inverse of the subnet mask. Say, for example, for a slash 24 network, we'll be writing the subnet mask, right? 255.255.255.0, right? So when it comes to wildcard mask for the same slash 24, we'll be putting in inverse. Like instead of 255.255.255.0, we will put 0.0.0.255. Okay, it's just an inverse of subnet mask. So we'll be seeing about this in the upcoming videos. That's fine. And OSPF supports clear text and MD5 authentications. So we'll be learning about this also. And summarization is allowed or supported in the area border routers. In OSPF, based on the design type, like there are different types of routers. So we'll be discussing about that in the upcoming videos in detail. So as of now, understand that the summarization in OSPF is supported only in area border routers. All right. And OSPF consumes more CPU and memory compared to the distance vector routing protocol. Uh, that's true. This OSPF is an hierarchical protocol. It uses the concept of area for easy management. Okay, so we'll be discussing about area in detail because these are all the advanced concepts, advanced terms. So that's the reason, like I'm just giving an intro here. So for all the terms like area and the BDR, and authentication stuffs and different types of routers. So for all this advanced concepts, we'll be exploring about it in the upcoming videos separately. Don't worry. So here in OSPF, we uses the concept of area where by default area 0 act as the backbone area. All right, fine. And there are three types of tables available in OSPF, that is neighbor table, topology table, and routing table. The neighbor table consists of informations about the neighbor. So basically in the output of the neighbor table, you will get all the informations about your neighbor. And in the topology table, we can get all the informations about the entire topology, about all the sub networks learned, remote networks learned, and what are the paths available and metrics. So those stuffs. And in routing table, as we know already, the best path will get added to the routing table for any destinations. All right. Fine. It supports both IPv4 and IPv6 networks. And here, equal cost load balancing can be performed. And very, very importantly, OSPF supports unlimited hop count. There is no limitations on any hop counts. Okay. So if you compare it with RIP protocol has this limitation where it allows only 15 hops, right? However, in OSPF, there is no such limitation. You can use unlimited number of hops routers. It as it uses the triggered updates, the results is fast convergence. We already discussed about it, and the sequence number increments with every updates and then restarts. I'll be showing this particular thing in the lab in the next video. And OSPF is very powerful and scalable, but it's little complex. And once you learn how to do it, then it's very easy. Okay, but it's in terms of managing or maintaining the network. It's super powerful and scalable. Very easy. And router ID plays an important role in OSPF. Router ID means it's like a name to a person. Okay, so like how we have a name for every person, right? So router ID is like a name to a router. Okay, so there are some criterias like how a router ID is selected. I'll be explaining about that in upcoming videos. So for now, like this is all the introductions. Okay, just the fundamentals or the basics of OSPF. In upcoming videos, we'll be exploring more in detail about OSPF. So before that, in the next video, maybe let's have some simple lab session to have simple topology, and let's see how how to configure OSPF and how OSPF is working. And following to that, let's explore more in detail about the advanced concepts.